Tying in. What is it? Why do we do it? And what's that knot that you tie? That's just some of the questions I get asked. So tying in process is the tying of knots. So you can see there's a knot. And in this case, there'll be 696 of these for these tweeds. If you are weaving on the more modern double width looms, I believe it's just over 1400 knots you have to tie. But yeah, we only have to do 696. So when we're finishing a tweed, the warp comes up to here, this gets cut, and so in this case the cream warp, you can see these ends here, is left kind of loose. You can then redraft. Redrafting is changing the order that the yarn runs through those heddles. So if I was going on to a herringbone or to a twill or whatever, I would change the order that this yarn is running through here. So you can see there's an eye, well I'm hoping you can see, with an individual end of yarn. So that's redrafting. This one I don't need to redraft because I'm using the same draft as the last tweed. So all I have to do is tie on the new one. So the cream warp, like I said, is the old warp. The cream yarn, sorry, is the old warp, and the blue yarn is the new warp. The actual knot tying, the tying in process itself, it's just a reef knot that we're using, known locally as a weaver's knot. And I can show you here just now what we do, or the way I do it. So you take the blue one, cross it over the cream one there, and then it comes round over the top of your index finger, or it would if I didn't let go of it. And then you have the cream coming up through the bottom of your index finger. And what you want is that blue to wrap around that cream to kind of go into the loop that we've made with our finger. And the easiest way to do that is by rolling it. So you can now see the blues on the other side of that. Pull that, and there you go. There's a knot. Now the beauty with this knot is that if we need to undo it, it's very easy. You can pull that back down, kind of unlocks it, and then this will just slide off. And then I can show you again how we do it. So blue over the cream, over the top of your index finger, cream around the bottom, roll it until the blue pops through, grab hold of the blue, and then pull it through. And of course in this case we're going to have an extra bit. There we go. And like I said, you can pull it and release it, which I'm going to because that one is a wee bit loose. So there we go. Now normally when I'm tying in, I don't pick up individual ends like I just did there. I usually pick up two. And I used to, when I first started, another weaver had told me that he would always do it with 4 ends at a time. But my hands are tiny and there's not much space here for me to hold all 4 ends cleanly. So if I try and pick them up again as I used to when I first started, so I'll try and hold them. And the problem is it just gets kind of bunched up. So the first 2, usually no bother. And then sometimes these would end up kind of getting just, yeah, it wasn't as clean or as easy to kind of pick them up. So I thought, well, I could go down to 3, but I don't really like 3. I don't know why, I just don't. So I do 2. So it's very quick and easy. You're holding both warps in your left hand and tying knots with your right. Well, I am. Maybe that's just because I'm right-handed. So old warp in the top, that keeps it nice and taut. New warp held in the bottom of my hand, again, keeps it nice and taut. Makes life so much easier for picking everything up. And then the other thing actually I could show you is this lease. So in my other videos you may have seen me putting a lease band in when I've been warping, and I suppose the big question would be why. And this is why. It's for the order of the yarn for tying in. So if I was to go and pull this just now, as though I wanted to tie this one in, you can see that that's not coming out cleanly. It's not the next one in line. I could try this one, but again, you can see it's not the next one. So we know that that's the next one to be tied in there. And it's basically one's over and then under, and the other one's under, over. And it's just done like that, so you get this cross in here. So you can look, oh, it's not that one. It's this one is the next one to tie in. So it just means that you can do it in order. You're not going to have things twisting, which will cause problems with tension, might cause them to snap, etc. And that's it. we then, like I said, carry on until we've done all 696. And you really hope that when you get to 696 of one, you get to 696 of the other. Because if you get to 696 of an old warp and only 695 of the new warp, you've made a mistake somewhere.